I have a vertical asymptote when x is equal to 3. Just by looking at the equation, before I even graph it, whenever there's a denominator, that's a big red flag, big indication that there will be an asymptote in your graph. Okay, because for sake of time, let me fill out the mapping relationships very quickly for you to translate this. My transformation equation meant that I have to multiply my x-coordinates by -2, because it's the opposite of multiplying it by -1/2 is, dividing by -1/2 is the same as multiplying by -2/1. My y-coordinates are going to stay the same for the first column. Then you are going to take your y-coordinates and actually multiply it by 7, because I have a vertical stretch by 7. And the final transformation that you're going to do, -2x, there is a horizontal shift to the left by 3, so you're going to subtract 3 from your x-coordinates. Everything else is going to stay the same. Now remember, when you are doing this, you're not just considering this table over here. This table over here represents this part of the graph, this section of the graph, the first part of the graph. The second table, and I really should eliminate 0, 0, that's not really part of it, but the second table represents the positive part of the graph. So what I want you to do is kind of apply these transformations and get some points that you will be able to graph on your grid as practice. And this is really the bulk of the Unit 11 test. So I'm going to do the first one with you. For the first column, my y-coordinates are going to stay the same. So I'm going to write all of my y-coordinates down. When you multiply your x-coordinates by -2, you're going to get -2 times -2 is a +4. -1 times -2 is a +2. -0.5 times -2 is going to actually give you +1. And then you have 0, 0. When you apply your vertical stretch by 7, this time you're going to carry over the x-coordinates that you just figured out, and you're going to get new y-coordinates. So instead of -1/2, when you multiply that by 7, you're going to get -7/2. -1 times 7 is -7. -2 times 7 is -14. 0 times 7 is 0, and so on and so forth. So this involves a lot of applying mapping transformations. Even if you make one mistake, that could really screw up your graph. So you have to kind of also be aware of what your graph, you're expecting it to look like. Even though we're applying stretches and shifts, this graph shouldn't change too much, and you should always have a vertical and horizontal asymptote still, okay? So just take a lot of care and ask questions if you run into any difficulties. But after you are finished this Unit 11 test, there will be no more functions. We'll start a brand new topic. On Monday, I'm giving an Introduction to Trigonometry seminar.